I think the Majority Chief Whip need to avert his mind to 64(4)(c). Mr. Speaker, it's not when a matter of quorum is raised on the floor of Parliament. Order 64(4) give directive what the person presiding should do. But it doesn't lie in the hands of the Majority Chief Whip at that point to tell the Speaker, the First Deputy Speaker, who is very experienced, as to what to do. Because Standing Order 64 says that the person presiding shall. You are a lawyer, and you know when shall is used. It becomes mandatory, and that the person presiding must comply. And that is exactly what he was moving to do before you decide to buy time to whip your members in. In any case, you are 189. And you need 92, 93 to commence business. So why are you saying that we are 23 or where is if you are 75? If you are 75, you need 92 to continue. Mr. Speaker, 64(4)(c) says that the person presiding shall direct the clerk at table to conduct a head count of the members present. So it is not you to do a head count. So the counting that you did was a waste of time because you don't have any authority to do that counting. It is the Speaker who can direct the procedure to be followed. So, Mr. Speaker, I still invite you that we don't have that quorum, and for that matter, do the needful. If at the end of the day it is established, which I am very convinced that even at the moment we don't have the quorum, we are not up to 92 to commence a business. So, Mr. Speaker, I invite you to apply the rules.
Honourable members, yes. Honourable members, issues, yes. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minority Leader, your Deputy Whip was on the feet. I recognize him. He's decided not to use the opportunity. Now, Majority Leader is on the feet. Why won't I recognize the Majority Leader? I rule if nobody is up to speak. So the Majority Leader is up. What do I do? Honourable members, what do I do? Yes, Majority Leader, let me hear you.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I don't think there's a problem with going through the processes outlined in our standing orders. What I recall is that the bell developed a fault. The bell developed a fault and and was not ringing in the offices. So I just want a confirmation that the bell rings in the offices. That is just all that I'm cautioning, that let's make sure that the bell rings in the offices. Because you see, the rules say that the Speaker will direct for the bell to be rung and for a certain number of minutes. But I just want to be sure that when the bell is rung, it will ring in the offices of the members of Parliament. No, it is the verification that I think Speaker should embark upon. So when Speaker directs that the bell be rung, he has to ask the clerk to verify that the ringing is also taking place in the offices, so the MPs can be prompted to come back into the chamber. Even as you deplete your numbers by deliberately walking out, we want to make sure that those who are not in the chamber actually have notice that we need them in the chamber for us to proceed with government business. So, Mr. Speaker, whilst this is going on, can we start with the statement by the Minister for Roads? Mr. Speaker, you cannot say that we cannot. You can ring the bell, but directing that the bell should be rung doesn't mean that proceedings should be brought to a halt. No, proceedings should not be brought to a halt. Proceedings will continue even as the bell is being rung for the time period that the bell is being rung. If at the end of that time period, the Speaker decides to conduct the count, then we can look at the figures and see if there is
continue the business of the House.
Yes, so it is clear that the person presiding shall continue the business of the House for a period of 10 minutes. No. When the bell is rung, after the Speaker has decided and the bell is being rung, we have 10 minutes to proceed with government business as the MPs troop into the chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, that is guidance that I'm seeking from you.
Yes, honourable members, the rule invoked is very clear. Actually, we don't base the decision on the members' count when attention is drawn to the absence of a quorum. I would direct the clerk at table to cause the bell to be rung for 10 minutes, and by Standing Order 64(4)B, business of the House shall continue. I will therefore call on the Minister for Roads and Highways to present his statement. Clerk at table, you may proceed to ring the bell, and make sure you ring the bell physically at the committee rooms as well as the offices.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Habib, you raised the issue and have given my directives, unless you are saying I'm not operating within the rules. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to give an update of the government's flagship Big Push project to this House. Right Honourable Speaker, honourable members of this august House, I present to you an update of President Mohammed's flagship infrastructure development project, the Big Push. Mr. Speaker, may recall that President Mohammed dedicated the first 2 years of the Big Push program to address unprecedented deplorable state of our road network. Through the Big Push infrastructure program, launched in 2025, the government is investing heavily in repairing critical roads, upgrading key economic corridors, creating jobs, and reducing the cost of doing business across all 16 regions. The program places strong emphasis on Ghanaian contractors and workers, helping to strengthen local technical expertise in construction sector. Mr. Speaker, the Big Push program has received strong support from Parliament so far. This House has approved nearly 50 billion for these multi-year road and bridge projects. We appreciate the support from leadership and members of this House. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, over 2,000 kilometers of roads in all 16 regions of our country are under extensive transformation. Mr. Speaker, in times past, we have all been concerned by the state of our roads, mindful of the amount of monies invested. In the spirit of probity, accountability, and transparency, we encourage the public to remain engaged in monitoring the project in their localities, and we always appreciate their constructive feedback. Mr. Speaker, recently, an online platform requested for details about ongoing road projects, and same was willingly and timeously provided, there was no attempt to conceal any information. I am grateful for the opportunity to update Parliament on the status of implementation of Big Push infrastructure project. Mr. Speaker, no ministry is subjected to as much consistent scrutiny as the Ministry of Roads. On average, about 10 questions are filed weekly, covering wide-ranging issues from contract awards to project cost and timeliness. The ministry also regularly gets invitation for committees of Parliament to respond to development within the sector. Mr. Speaker, I welcome the scrutiny. It strengthens accountability and ensures that we remain aligned with the expectations of Ghanaian people. I wish to assure the House that I take the responsibility entrusted in me with the utmost seriousness. I remain fully committed to delivering on our mandate with integrity, transparency, and efficiency. Mr. Speaker, prior to 2024 election, it was clear that majority of Ghanaians were not happy with the deplorable and dangerous nature of roads across the country. They made it a condition that when given the mandate, the government of President Mahama should take urgent and immediate steps to improve the country's road network. This has been justifiably followed by consistent questions of timeliness and from members of this House as to when the roads in their constituencies will be improved. Mr. Speaker, this is a House of record. Let me state unequivocally that all contracts awarded under the program were done in strict adherence to the Public Procurement Act and its accompanying regulations. Mr. Speaker, all contractual information is publicly available and on the ministry's website. The Big Push roads were identified, the original Big Push project identified were just 12 major economic corridors across the country, which were christened the 12 disciples. These projects were later broken into 54 lots to foster competition and speed up implementation. Mr. Speaker, additionally, 23 road projects valued at 14.88 billion, which were awarded by the previous administration and abandoned by contractors due to lack of dedicated funding and were absorbed as part of Big Push. These projects were novated to be Big Push under the new funding. Mr. Speaker, these are some of the projects. The design and construction of Swami Interchange and ancillary works, Phase 1. Design and construction of Swami Interchange Local Road, Phase 2. Takoradi Agona rehabilitation and dualization of Takoradi Agona Junction, including 2 number dual carriageway bridges. Rehabilitation of Tepa Mabangoso Road. Reconstruction of Jenijini Sampa Road. Rehabilitation and upgrading of Kaswa Winiba Road. Rehabilitation of Kaswa Winiba different lots up to 3. Rehabilitation of Ofanko Nsawam Road. Design, build, and dualization of Adenta Dodowa. Upgrading of Nkwanta Otidamanko Road. Upgrading of Nkwanta Otidamanko kilometer 0 to 50.3. Upgrading of Tumu Sicily Navrongo Road. Upgrading of Tumu Chichuluga Navrongo Road. Partial reconstruction of Navrongo Chichuluga Tumu Road. Upgrading of Tumu Han Laura kilometer 45 to 70. The same all the way to upgrading of Tumu Han Laura Road and construction of National Route 8 Wa Han Laura Road. Rehabilitation of Hokwe Jasikan and then construction of Have Hokwe Road. Mr. Speaker, globally, it is globally acceptable that sole sourcing even is acceptable if in situations where there is the need to extend the implementation of works which were previously competitively procured to speed up completion. Though the 23 projects I talked about that we innovated, none of them were competitively procured. They were also source contracts, but which were innovated at the cost of 14.8 billion Ghana cedi. Mr. Speaker, given the scale, urgency, and national importance of these projects, a mix of procurement methods were employed in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that only 44% of all the major contracts included in the Big Push contract were awarded by the ministry under sole sourcing. 44%. So not what has been published by a certain online portal. We have also awarded over 400 different contracts through open competitive bidding, over 400, which is unprecedented because the record shows that from 2017 to 2024, almost all projects that the ministry carried out were sole sourced. Almost all the projects were sole sourced. It will therefore be mischievous for any right-thinking member of society to conclude that the Ministry of Road and Highways only procures work through sole sourcing. Mr. Speaker, I have already mentioned the deplorable state of the road network across the country we inherited from our colleagues. This had brought untold hardship to the motoring public and contributed massively to the food inflation. This led to public agitation and the survival of the state. Mr. Speaker, something needed to be done and done urgently. Mr. Speaker, with dedicated funding already secured under the Big Push program, was both prudent and necessary to proceed swiftly to ensure value for money and avoid cost overruns associated with long procurement and implementation timelines. Mr. Speaker, most of the project would not have started until date if we hadn't adopted a faster route. Mr. Speaker, the following projects, for example, wouldn't have been continued or started. The Kaswa-Winneba and then Kaswa Interchange Road, which is in my good friend, the minority leaders constituency. The dualization of Winneba Cape Coast, the Swami Interchange project, which was stalled but now has gotten a new life, the Kumasi Outer Ring Road, and the Ofanko and Sawam Road are part of this. Mr. Speaker, we put in place the following mechanisms to ensure value for money in terms of cost, quality, and longevity. Contrary to the practice under the previously under the Big Push program, agencies did their own survey, design, costing, at saving billions. Mr. Speaker, I say this because in the past, this project would have been designed and built. Mr. Speaker, by asking the agencies to actually do our design costing, we have saved at least 5% of the cost of the project. So we started saving money on this project, making sure that the country gets the best in terms of the value for money. Contractors were then invited to submit proposals. Their proposals were then subjected to independent value for money assessment. We have instituted a stricter monitoring and cost control mechanisms to ensure we only pay for works done. Mr. Speaker, we have now established a system where no contractor will walk away with a CD without working for it. Mr. Speaker, we have also reached an understanding with the Ghana Institution of Surveyors to develop a local capacity of members to be licensed as independent value for money auditors. Mr. Speaker, it is important to point out the deliberate falsehood that rely on simplified metrics such as cost per kilometer without considering the scope of works. Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, under the recent leadership of President Mahama, road projects have not been unjustifiably suspended or terminated. The huge unpaid debt of over 40 billion has also received attention of the government. Over 11 billion has been paid so far to contract all awarded or inherited from our brothers from the other side. The government has not abandoned any ongoing project. Mr. Speaker, indeed, the Accra-Kumasi bypass project have not been abandoned. Indeed, we have completed one of the lots and have taken it over. Mr. Speaker, the rest of the lots have been programmed to be budgeted for in the 2027 budget if Parliament approves. However, Mr. Speaker, the cost to complete, including the outstanding debt of the Kumasi bypasses, is estimated at 6 billion Ghana cedis today. Mr. Speaker, let me state emphatically that when it comes to the Big Push program, Parliament exercised continuous oversight. Questions are answered regularly on the floor of the House. Independent professional bodies validated the project cost. Procurement processes complied with established legal framework. There is no abuse of the sole sourcing program. Unlike previous, it is exception and not the norm. Indeed, no procurement law or any other law has been breached, and definitely there is no scandal. Mr. Speaker, the implementation of the Big Push program, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I call on Mr. Speaker, I say this as a matter of fact. I am not responding to anybody except those who are falsifying information on social media. Mr. Speaker, the NDC did not award over 70 billion cedis worth of work under the Big Push. Indeed, we said 54 billion of that was for new works, and then the 23 projects were projects that we inherited, costing another 14.8 billion. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, there's spurious information online that 76%
Honourable
of Big
Minister,
Push
just go ahead with your
projects
statement.
were sole source is also false. Only about 44% of those projects were procured through sole sourcing. And I state on record, Mr. Speaker, we are making progress as a House and as a country to make sure that much of our procurement is done competitively. But that is why I'm saying that those who claim to have done this so-called analysis based on data we submitted to them freely didn't help the country. Because if they did due diligence, they would have known that those percentages they put outside were pure fabrications and false. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, President Mohammed's government has taken steps to improve the procurement process. And as a matter of fact, as I said, I'm not having a go at our colleagues on the other side. I say that today as a minister, almost the 110 billion cedis worth of projects we inherited were all procured through sole sourcing. I don't blame them, Mr. Speaker. I sat on this side of the House not too long ago when the people of Swami were demonstrating against the respected former leader, Honorable Chairman Sabonsu. I supported the fact that we should procure the Swami interchange through sole sourcing because it was urgent and we needed to do it. When the motorway was awarded to Motor Angels, a foreign company, and they couldn't raise the financing, I was one of the first people to say that let's terminate the work and get a Ghanaian contractor to do it. In this House, we also agreed that that project should also be awarded on sole sourcing to the contractor Maripoma. Mr. Speaker, I say this simply because the impression is that when we were in opposition, we said nothing about sole sourcing was good, and when we were now in government, we are doing the opposite. Mr. Speaker, what I presented to you today shows that everything has to be done in context. What I will say here, Mr. Speaker, majority, all Big Push projects are on site and are ongoing, and by the end of 2027, Mr. Speaker, you will see a lot of completed road projects that would enhance our economy, make our roads safer, and this is why I tell colleagues, let us work together to make sure that we protect the Big Push. Let us not fall for any agenda of anybody outside of this House. This is the House of Parliament. The debate, the formulation of policy of anything that has to do with governance stands here and not anybody outside. And I want to take the opportunity to thank the entire country for the support they've given to Big Push. President Mahama is not in the business of skewing anything to disadvantage the people of Ghana. Big Push projects are on site, they are ongoing, and shall be completed on schedule and on budget. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I have here, Mr. Speaker, that I will table all the advertisement of all the projects we advertised, over 400 of them, competitively and awarded. So those who are taking, let's say, 70 projects and using that to strike out at the difference, this is the information I have for you. Majority of the projects we are embarking on were actually procured through competitive bidding. Mr. Speaker, I also mentioned that all that we are doing with regard to the Big Push project are already on our website, so we are not concealing any information in terms of the description of the project, the scope of work, the name of the contractor, the day the contract starts and when it's expected to be completed is there. So nobody has gotten a scoop, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, there is no scandal about the Big Push. Big Push project was approved by this House, and we shall make sure that it delivers to the people of our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, before coming to comment, for my sake, let's take a few minutes suspension.
Go and tell them, everybody. 65. Call everybody.